LC panel and AC block production process is divided into 6 sections: preparation and storage of raw materials. Production of steel cages, batching and pouring, pre-curing, tilting and cutting, grouping for steam curing and packing of finished products. 1. Preparation and storage of raw materials. Firstly, loading the fly ash, sand, gypsum and waste into the corresponding hoppers of batching machine by loader. The materials are measured by belt scale and transported to wet type ball mill for grinding by belt conveyor. After grinding, the slurry is pumped to a mixing tank for stirring. Then the slurry is pumped to storage tank for storage. Loading the lime blocks into the hopper by loader, after being crushed by jaw crusher. The lime powder is transported by bucket elevator into lime particles silo for storage. The lime particles are fed into dry ball mill for grinding by vibrating feeder. After grinding, the lime powder is transported to storage silo by screw conveyor and bucket elevator. Bulk cement is pumped into the cement silo from a bulk cement truck. The entire process of raw materials preparing and transporting is equipped with a complete dust collecting system to ensure the environment is no polluted. Production of steel cages. Firstly, place the steel bars round on the welding bracket of the full automatic mesh welding machine. Welding the steel mesh automatically. After completing welding, put the finished steel mesh in the storage area. When producing exterior wall panels, it needs a suspended welding machine to weld a steel cage. The cage are assembled with assembling frame and steel chisels for reinforcement out panels. After assembly, the cages are transported to the anti-corrosion treatment workshop for overall anti-corrosion by gantry crane to ensure the surface of the cages is completely immersed in the anti-corrosion liquid. Then, transport the cages to the drying oven for drying. After drying, the cages are transported under the steel chisel inserting gantry crane for storage. 3. Batching and pouring. The prepared slurry is sent to the slurry weighing scale through a slurry pump for measurement. Lime and cement are conveyed to the respective weighing scales by screw conveyors for separate measurement. The aluminum powder is made into aluminum suspension by a fully automatic aluminum powder mixer. After measurement, the aluminum suspension is fed into the pouring mixer for high-speed mixing. The well-mixed slurry is poured into the empty mold by lifting arms. After pouring is completed, the air bubbles in the mixture are eliminated by a bubble eliminating device. The entire process of measurement, mixing and pouring is fully controlled by a computer automatically. 4. Pre-curing. The poured mold is transported to the position of inserting steel chisels by friction wheels. The cage is inserted into the mold by chisel inserting gantry crane. Then the mold is transported to pre-curing chamber for constant temperature curing by ferry cart. The pre-curing ferry cart is precisely positioned with a positioning mechanism. Transport the mold to the specific position. After the green block in the mold meets the requirements of cutting, the mold is transported by the pre-curing ferry cart to the position for extraction of steel chisel. The frame with all the steel chisels are extracted by gantry crane. Then it is transported to the position under the turnover crane by the friction wheels. 5. Tilting and cutting. The turnover crane automatically grabs the mold and flips at 90 degrees, and then place it on the first cutting cart. Then the manipulator arms of turnover crane unlock the mold automatically. Separate the side plate from the mold box for demolding. The turnover crane reassembles the demolded mold and side plate that has been cleaned and dusted on the side plate return track. Then lift the mold and transport it to the mold return track for oil treatment. Waiting for next pouring cycle. The first cutting cart of the cutting machine carries the green block. It first passes through the groove milling device for side grooves milling. Mill the grooves with crack-resistant cutter. Then, a horizontal cutting is performed according to the specific thickness. After the horizontal cutting is completed, the first cutting cart continues to move forwards to the vertical cutting machine. The chain lifting device lifts the green block and side plate together. The swing frame vertical cutting machine drive the steel wires for cutting by reciprocating motion. The first cutting cart returns to the starting position to carry the next green block. The second cutting cart replaces the first cart and transports the green block under the grouping crane. The grouping crane lifts the green block and transports it on the turnover table for bottom layer, removing. The table flips the green block by 90 degrees and cleans up the bottom waste and top waste. 6. Grouping for steam curing. The steam curing cart is transported to the position under the grouping crane. On the return track, the green block, with waste removed, is lifted and put on the steam curing cart by grouping crane for pre-grouping. The waste generated during the cutting process and the waste remain on the side plate are collected and pumped to waste slurring mixing pool for stirring. The waste slurry is ready for recycling. After pre-grouping, the steam curing carts are transported to the grouping ferry cart by a traction machine. The grouping ferry cart transport the steam curing cart to respective track in front of autoclave. The grouping is carried out by the traction machine. After grouping of the semi-finished blocks and panels for the entire autoclave is completed, the group enters the intended track through the loading bridge ferry cart, and it is positioned by the positioning mechanism. The well-grouped semi-finished blocks or panels are automatically loaded into the autoclave by the grouping traction machine through the loading bridge ferry cart. The products requires high temperature and high pressure curing for 8 to 12 hours. Packing of finished products. After steam curing, the blocks are transported out of the autoclave by the ferry cart. Then, the blocks are transported to the position under the stacking crane by the traction machine and friction wheels. The stacking crane lifts and transports the blocks along with the side plate to the return track of side plate. The blocks are transported to the position under the AAC block separator through the return track. The separating process is carried out from the top layer to the bottom layer. The separated finished blocks are transported to the position under the clamping unit through the side plate return track. The clamping unit separates and lifts the blocks and panels for classification. After classification, the block products are conveyed to rotation clamping unit for packaging by duplex chain. The packaged block products are transported to the finished products storage yard by forklifts. At the same time, the panel products arrive at the panel conveying line. The panels are transported to the sorting crane for sorting and stacking. The sorted and stacked panel products are then packaged. The packaged panel products are further transported to the inline flipping table. The panels are flipped 90 degrees and then transported by forklift to the yard for vertical storage. The steam curing cart returns to the pre-grouping position in front of autoclave by the traction system. The continuous production of the entire line is achieved by repeatedly following the aforementioned production process.